structured lesson. You'd have thought that suggesting that having a structured lesson was as part of the remit of an outstanding golf coach would be reasonably obvious. But what happens, I believe, is that the structure that we've been using has probably been a little bit too simplistic. Certainly the structures of the lesson will change compared to whether you have a first-time client or whether it's a repeat client. So the start may change to begin with. So there's definitely going to be more emphasis on rapport and understanding, and questions are going to be quite varied and widespread for first meetings, and they may be a little bit more narrower during subsequent meetings. So the overall point of a structured lesson is to manage precisely everything that could go on during a lesson. So they include all of the possible states, the challenges with learning, the task that you've chosen, and making sure that you have got an equation that you're following throughout is an absolute essential of being an outstanding golf coach. How will you get this skill? Well, I know how I got it, and that is the double whammy of coaching the coaches and seeing how they dealt with lessons and the challenges that they were bringing from their experiences of having lessons themselves, and then maybe transferring some of those experiences onto their clients, and then what I've got from where I've actually coached as well. And it comes from an NLP term again, TOTE: test, operate, test, exit. So what's happened is, over the 20 odd years that we've been doing this now, we've actually come across every element within that lesson structure where things could go wrong, and then built in fail safes so that it doesn't happen again, or at least we know where we've gone wrong. So to some degree, the structure that we've got, I can certainly offer to you, both if you're training with me already, or if you want to know more about it, then that will be a separate program. But if you start off with your basics and then just see where the challenges occur and then change and adapt. So there's a lot of practice goes involved, and there's a lot of practice actually getting good at the skills within that structure. How will you recognize that you have this skill? The biggest single thing that I can tell you is a far less stressful lesson, where at all times you know exactly where you are and why you're there, and more importantly, so does the client. We are also getting people to understand the importance of these processes, because these processes of management will then go into other aspects of practice and goal setting and so on and so on. So for me, what definitely when I was definitely while training the coaches, what I've seen is that at the beginning, 98% of the coaches get lost within the lesson at some point, somewhere. And once this structure is learnt, then it just disappears. There is, dare I say, actually less thinking required. And if you're having to think less, then you can use that time to focus in on the key aspects of the lesson, the key aspects of your client, whether your client is learning, how you could help facilitate learning, how could you make the environment more learning friendly at any particular instant. But when you're trying to recover situations because you haven't done your groundwork, you haven't done your processes, then you're going to fall into some traps that will negate learning, which is, you know, why we have the lesson. The advantages are manifold, obviously, so it's not just in the quality of the lesson, but to some degree it's in customer satisfaction. So if you keep to a solid structure that works and you maintain that solid structure, then customer service wise, that's what the expectation of the customer will be, and if you deliver that each and every time, then you're pretty much sure that your customer expectations will be met. Now certainly, again, when I talk about what's in the lesson structure, then that is a separate lesson, but we have discovered by operating this for a very long time some extremely key elements that make it work, and again we will reveal them at a later time, either in your specific training or on a specific course. The idea of a structured lesson and managing that structured lesson and adding as required, it will stop you losing sight of your goal. It will stop you losing focus on what it is that you're doing. It will keep you obligated to the task in hand and generally make you feel that every lesson you've accomplished everything that you wanted to accomplish, even if the new skill somebody's been looking for hasn't been acquired as yet. So whatever you're doing, look at if you're currently coaching, then look at the lesson structure. Just ask yourself, where, if any place, have things been going wrong? If I ask my customers, where would they like to see changes in that? And if you're training with us, then follow that lesson structure, learn it off by heart, and you will find training a lot easier. Thank you for listening. I look forward to seeing you again soon.